interacting there. Just a few heads up once again. Please ensure that you are not spamming in this particular chat section because you might be getting auto ban from a system as well. Please do not post any sort of unsolicited links. And last but not the least, please be respectful and maintain the decorum to have a pleasant experience throughout this entire masterclass. Now, again, guys, I can see already people are asking a lot of questions. So for the questions part here, so kindly ensure that you are posting all your questions in the questions tab only, which is just below the chat tab. So because if you're pasting your questions in the chat tab, like this is an infinite scroll, so your question might be getting lost here. So we don't want to ensure that is happening. So like just put your question in the questions tab and don't forget to upvote all the relevant and the important questions so that once Siddharth is taking the questions, he's taking the most important ones accordingly. With this being said, me and Siddharth, we have prepared some fun polls for all of you guys here. So the idea is, again, to ensure that you are interacting through this particular polls because we don't want to make it look like a Netflix session wherein you people are just chilling out with a bucket of popcorn or snacks. So again, to feel free to join in this particular polls, select the particular desired option and click on the submit button to ensure that your response is being recorded from our end. Cool. So guys, if you got a clear understanding of the entire platform, can I just again get a thumbs up once again? Awesome, guys. Awesome, guys. With this being said, again, just to ensure that you people got a clear understanding of the polls or not, I will just quickly launch a poll for all of you. Just give me a second. So how's your days going as of right now, guys? So how's your day overall going? Like you can just select whatever option that suits you. If you're having an amazing day, you can select that. If you're kind of having like an okay day, like if you want to ensure that you are having a better one in this upcoming masterclass. And if you're having pretty much like a bad day and you're joining the masterclass to ensure you're having a pretty good time ahead, you can just select that as well. Cool. So I can see around 47% of the people saying they're kind of having an okayish day. So we want to ensure that you are having a lovely time ahead. With this being said, on this optimistic note, I want to pass on the mic to Siddharth here. Siddharth, if everything is working fine from an end itself, you can just take it forward from here. Over to you.
Thank you, Swarnjyoti. Thanks a lot for starting the session for us. And hello, everybody. Welcome to the session Roadmap to Becoming a Full Stack Developer. Right? What I will do is I'll quickly set the agenda for the class today. I hope that you are all feeling good. You are feeling at least okay, as that is what I see from the poll. But what I can guarantee you is that by the end of the session, whoever was feeling meh or okay-ish would start feeling amazing. So that is one promise that I can do to all of you. I would wish that you are all going to be a good audience today. One request is that please be a good and a gentle audience. Don't be abusive towards each other. Don't be abusive towards me. I'll try as much as possible to take your doubts, as much as possible to take your questions, but be gentle, be nice, and try to understand things rather than, trying to troll people or troll the instructor. That's one request that I have from all of you. Second, let me just quickly introduce myself. My name is Siddharth. I am an instructor over here at Scalar and a senior engineering manager over here at Scalar from past 4 years. For the most part of my career, I was a front-end developer where I joined Sapient. Then I switched to DirectEye. Then when I moved to Qubole, I became a full stack developer, and then I came to Scalar doing the same, being a full stack developer. So that is why I am over here telling you how to become a full stack developer by the best of the knowledge that I have gained over my time in this industry. So I'll give you more realistic examples. I'll tell you things that are more realistic in nature. I'll tell you more best ways to become a full stack developer, right? At any point of time, if you don't understand anything, just let me know. I'll take your doubts. What we'll do is I'll structure the session in this way that we'll cover the content for first 30 minutes, then take doubts for 5 minutes, then 30 minutes, then 5 minutes. I hope that works. Can I get yes or no in this chat? If that works. It does. It does, but in those 5 minutes, I'm sure that I'll not be able to take everyone's doubt. So I'll pick and choose some of the doubts. So please bear with me for that period of time. One more amazing thing that we have is that we have Prakash with us today. Prakash is also a fellow industry expert and is going to help us during the session today, right? And he will also be helping you understand things from the perspective of full stack development. I'll quickly hand it over to you, Prakash, to introduce yourself.
Hi, Siddharth. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Siddharth, let me introduce myself. My name is Prakash. I am currently working as a full stack developer at InCash, which is a fintech company founded by the former CTO of PayU. And before InCash, I worked in a full stack role at Townscript, a subsidiary of BookMyShow Group.
Great, Prakash. That is good to know. I wanted to ask you one question, Prakash, that do you think full stack development is very important in today's day and age? And would you suggest the same to our learners?
Yes. I mean, it is a nice skill to have because full stack developer understand everything, front end, back end, databases. So they know the complete software development cycle. And nowadays, companies are demanding more and more. So I think it is very nice skill to have.
My question to you is that are you demanding more and more from the companies in the terms of salary after becoming a full stack developer?
Yes. The expectation are the same.
All right. One very candid question to you is that are you scared of these times of recession? And first question is that if you could take it up, then I'll ask you the next question. Are you like feeling the heat of recession?
I mean, see, I have all the skills, so I know that I can switch in like if I want to switch a company, so it will take me like 1 month or max 2 months because I have all the skills. So it is not hard for me. So I'm not that much afraid of recession.
Got it. So one question I wanted to ask you is that how exactly did you start your journey towards becoming a full stack developer, and how did you start your upskilling journey?
Okay, so it was 2020, and I was actually preparing for and searching for jobs in IT as a fresher.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, I had 7 years of career gap because I was doing a lot of different things. I was preparing for government exam, and I was working in different domains. So my career gap was 7 years. So I was very struggling to find a job back in 2020 COVID time. So one of my friend told me about Scalar. He was part of February 20 batch. He told me about curriculum and the placement. So I began my journey with Scalar in 2020. I was part of October batch. So I was studying from that Scalar curriculum, and it covers all the basic DSA, LLD, HLD, and all the topics that we need to be a full stack developer.
That is great. That is very interesting thing that you have told me. Like a gap of 7 years and still you.
Yeah, I receive a lot of DMs in LinkedIn because people want to know how. Because nowadays I think it is very common. People from different domains are also want to switch in IT. So either they are.
I too keep getting these questions on LinkedIn that I have a career gap. Can I join? I have. I want to switch my path from being a QA to becoming a developer. So I also get questions like these. Great. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Prakash, for sharing this interesting facts about you. Thanks a lot for sparing time to talk to our audience today. I can see that some of the people are asking me in chat that how much money does Prakash get? So that is not a question that you ask to any fellow developer or anyone. You don't ask a woman's age or a developer's salary. But if you want to know about Prakash's salary, I'll ask Swanjyoti to launch a quick poll in the chat below. If you want to connect with Swanjyoti, it's a free of cost session. We'll connect you with Prakash, and we'll make sure that he answers all of the questions that are coming to your mind, that how did he switch from being preparing for government jobs to getting to a IT professional, I'll hand it over to you, Swanjyoti, to show the profile as well.
Sure, sure. So, guys, as you can see, this is the wonderful journey that Prakash had earlier to this. Like, again, mentioning the fact he was someone who is having 7 years of gap. He was not working in any sort of tech-based company. He got a job when it comes to software engineer, when it comes to TownScript. Similarly, he got another tremendous profile when it comes to Shriram. He was someone who was associated with ACL. He was working as a SD2 engineer, and right now he's working as a SD3 engineer when it comes to PayPal. So guys, this is again reiterating the fact this is a wonderful opportunity. If you want to connect with Prakash or similar profiles like Shriram, this will be a completely free of cost service. Again, this will not be a sales call. And the best part is that you are connecting with Prakash or similar profiles like Shriram in a one-on-one format, either in a Zoom link or Google Meet in a similar format based on their availability. So I will request you to kindly post on note down all your questions regarding your career aspect, to understand how did Prakash bridge that gap when it comes to that 7 years, right? So this is a huge thing that he did in terms of his career. So you can get to know about their entire journey, get a personalized career roadmap from their end. With this being said, thank you so much, guys, for interacting in the poll here. So with your due permission here, Prakash, I'm just quickly sharing the LinkedIn profile as well. So just get ready to get a blast of requests coming up in terms of LinkedIn here. So I'm just posting your link here. And guys, if you want to connect with Prakash or Shriram in a one-on-one format, I will quickly share again a WhatsApp link for all of you. The best part about this particular WhatsApp link is that you can herein Prakash and Shriram is waiting for you to join in to get all your queries getting cleared in a one-on-one format. So they're just waiting for you to flood in right away. So just don't miss out on these opportunities, guys, so that you are not missing out on anything here. Thank you so much again, Prakash, for taking your time and helping us understand your prolific journey in such a beautiful format. And
Thank you, Sarna. Thank you, Siddharth.
Note, passing the mic over to Siddharth.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Swanjyoti, for introducing Prakash and helping us know Prakash better. All right, then, let us get back to the moment that you are all waiting for. Right? Let us understand what are we going to learn. Before that, I have a request from all of you. Swanjyoti, if you could launch a poll. I see that a lot of people are messaging me saying that they want to connect with me and understand things of full stack development. A poll has been launched on the bottom right side of the screen. If you want to connect with me personally or any of the Scalar counselors and you want a personalized journey mapped for you, it's a free of cost session. The poll is on the bottom side of your screen. So go ahead and say yes to the poll. If I was in your place, I would have said yes. You get an opportunity to connect with me or the counselors of Scalar. Understand that what is Scalar providing you. Understand that how can we make your career better as a full stack developer, or at least start your career as a full stack developer. Last 10 seconds are left, right? Go ahead and say yes to the poll on the bottom right side of the screen. On its last 10 seconds, everyone. No, don't say yes to the chat, but to the poll. That is a request. All right. Let me share my screen then. What I have promised you is that I'll make sure that you get a very good experience on learning how to become a full stack developer, right? So what we will do is that I will write everything down over here on how to become a full stack developer. I will give you notes. I will give you resources on how to become a full stack developer. I'll tell you the fastest way to become a full stack developer as well. So these are the three things we'll cover. We'll give you a roadmap for becoming a front end, a roadmap for becoming a back end, and a roadmap for becoming a full stack. All these three things. My first question to everyone, let us make it very interactive. My first question to everyone is, what happens when you hit www.google.com? What happens when you do that? Can anyone tell me in chat? What happens? Amit, what exactly happens? Google page comes up, a website opens, DNS, hits DNS. Right. I see that a lot of you are saying DNS, some are saying opens the web page, some are saying it goes to the backend. All right. Now let us understand why this happens, how this happens, and from this we will take a hint of who a full stack developer is. So don't think this is not relevant. This is very, very relevant. I'll write it down over here also. What happens when you hit www.google.com? Now, if I want to find the address of Krishna, right? If you want to find the address of Krishna, if you want to send a letter to Krishna, how would you send a letter to Krishna? Would you directly send the letter to Krishna saying that send the letter to Krishna, and would it reach to Krishna, or would that not be possible? That would not be possible, right? I think you would need a mailing address. Aryan says you will send the letter by praying. That is a good one, Aryan. You will send the letter using an address of Krishna, saying that Krishna stays in Vasant Vihar, Delhi, house number 24, and then you would be able to send that letter. Similarly, if you want to hit a website, you need to have the IP address of that website. You need to know that the IP address of the website, only then you would be able to get to the website, right? So if you need to know the IP address, for that there is something known as DNS that is available. For that, there is something known as DNS that is available, which has all the IP addresses of websites like google.com, right? Which tells you that this is the URL that you need to hit, and this is the IP address that you need to hit, and then you will get the website for that. Now, my question for all of you is that if you know the IP address for a website, and you go to that website, where would you go exactly? Which is the place that you would go? If you know the IP address of a website, which is the place that you would go to? You would go to a server. Nilanjan is right, 100% right. You will go to a server. Now, what exactly is this server? What exactly is this server? What exactly is this server? Can we say that server is a machine? Can we say it is a laptop? Can we say it is a laptop? It's a PC. Probably it's like a laptop or a PC, right? Running some program in it, but a much more powerful laptop, a much more powerful laptop than your normal laptop, right? So AWS, Azure, your GCP, these companies, what they do is they give you servers. They give you very powerfully computing servers, which what they do is, give me 1 second. Let me just block Aryan. Let me just block Aryan so that he does not spoil the experience of the whole session. Yes, done. So, right. Now, what I was saying was that if you are looking to get to the IP address, you have gotten the IP address. Now, server is a place where you would be running some program in order to respond to the request that has come. So now if Rohit has gone and said that he wants to hit www.google.com, now what would be the response that would come, and server, what would it do? Anyone? What would a server do? They would respond with a HTML file. That is what you would see. They would respond with an HTML file saying that this is the website that you are looking to hit. This is the website that you need. It will render it onto the browser, right? Responds with a JSON or a HTML saying that this is the website that you are looking to get to. Can I get yeses or no's in the chat if it makes sense till this point, what I am suggesting? So what your server would do, your server would take a request. Your server would take a request and it would give a response, right? It would take a request and it would give a response. That's what a server is going to do, right? So now what is it going to respond? What is it going to respond back by? It is going to respond back by HTML, and it is going to take a request. Server is going to take a request, right? This is what is going to happen. So now if the server is going to take a request and is going to respond by it, now we have understood this. What is it going to respond with? It is going to respond with an HTML. Now that HTML would be rendered onto the screen, right? Now this HTML, if it is rendered onto this screen, would it look nice? Would it be interactive? Would it have some beautiful graphics? Would it have some functionality in it? No, no. Everyone says no, right? No. So it would be done by your JS and CSS. JS and CSS would add beauty and functionality to your website, right? So now my question to all of you is that you would be asking that why are you teaching us all of this, right? Why are you teaching all of this? What does it mean, right? What does it mean? One question is that is what is coming to your mind. Second, like now if a website is open, right? Website is open, right? Say suppose what happened, right? You tried to open a website. Say suppose Nilanjan tried to open a website. Nilanjan, I'll give you a quick summary. Don't worry, Brijesh. I'll give you a quick summary. Nilanjan tried to open a website. All right. Now Nilanjan opened a website, and I will draw a diagram also. So I'm taking your feedbacks. Don't worry. So now Nilanjan opens a website. Say suppose Nilanjan opens Hotstar, right? And he goes to Hotstar. What does Hotstar say? That you cannot view the match because you are not logged in. You are not logged in. So what would you do? What would you do? You will log in. You will log in. Now where exactly would the record of Nilanjan be kept in? Would it be kept in some notebook? Would it be kept in some notebook? It would be kept in some database, right? It would be kept in some database. So let's write it down. Database to keep the records of the users. Based on the data, you log in and show the user different things. Now, next question is that who will get the records from the database? Who will get the records from the database? Who will get the records? Server is going to interact with the database. Server is going to interact with the database, right? All of you are right. Server is going to interact with the database. Server will interact with the DB. Now we have understood that server will interact with the DB. DB will give the data. Server will send a response to the server will send the response to the client. What are the three things that we have configured till now? What are the three things that we have understood till now? Can everyone summarize and tell me in the chat? Client server DB, right? Anand is 100% right. Client server and DB. These are the three things that we would have summarized. So in summary, client, which is equal to nothing but a browser. Second, server. Third, which is DB, right? So these are the three things that we have understood, that these are the three basic things that are required. Now let me give you a quick summary. What is DNS is not important, Praful, but if you want, DNS is a domain name server which has all the IP addresses for the websites. Okay. Now, let me just give you a quick summary. Sudhanshu, don't spam with sending these dots. Otherwise, I will have to ban you. I don't want to do that, right? So now what happens when you hit www.google.com, right? Can you all make it interactive? What is the first step that happens? Can you tell me in chat? Can you tell me in chat what is the first step that happens? A client will hit a page www.google.com. Now client will request for a IP address for that website, right? Client will request for the IP address for the website. From where would it request? From DNS. Now when you have the IP address, where would you go? Who would take the request? Who would take the request? Who would take the request? Server would take the request. Beautiful. Such a beautiful crowd, I must say. Server is going to take the request. Now, once the server has taken the request, what would server do? What would server do? Server would connect with DB. Server would connect with DB. Server would say that let's connect to the DB, get the data for the user. Then once the data has been connected and gotten from the DB, now what you would do? Now what you would do? Response with an HTML, respond with an HTML suggesting that this is the user, this is the web page that they are asking for, take the web page and display the web page. Display the web page. Now HTML is not beautiful. What makes it beautiful? HTML is not beautiful. What makes it beautiful? CSS makes it beautiful. And what makes it interactive? What makes it interactive? JS makes it interactive. JS makes it interactive. CSS makes it beautiful. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have established three domains of full stack development, right? 3 domains of full stack development. First is known as front end. Anything that is happening on the client side is known as front end. What would your front end constitute of? HTML, CSS, JS. Clear? Makes sense? Can I get yes or no in chat? If front end basic makes sense, we will go in detail about it. Don't worry. The basic scratching of the surface makes sense. I'll tell you one dream that I have. We have around 1100 people. My dream is that one day I will get 1100 yeses in the chat. Can we fulfill the dream today? 1100 yeses. Let's break the server. All right. Now, next, what is it? What is it that we are looking for? Next, what is it that we are looking for? Now, server is going to respond. So let's write it over here. Backend. The second part for full stack development is known as backend. Anything that is making a server, taking a request, and responding to a request and connecting to a server is known as backend, right? This is known as backend. Is everyone clear with this? Is everyone clear with this? What is backend? Chalo, beautiful. Now, third is DB. The place storing the data is known as database. All right. Now 3 domains we have understood. 3 domains we have understood, which are front end, back end, and database. Who is a full stack developer, everyone? Who is a full stack developer? Who knows all these 3? Who knows all these 3? Who knows all the above 3 is a full stack developer. So now you have understood who is a full stack developer, right? Can I get yes or no? Who is a full stack developer? You have understood. So now can we end the session and go back? Should we end the session now and go back? We have understood that who is a full stack developer, right? Some of the people are thinking that he just told us about who is a full stack developer. How to become one is what is required, not who is full stack developer. Okay, bye. Someone says, okay, bye. Right. Let us understand how to become. Let us understand the how to become. Before that, one more aspect of full stack development is how to set up a server and how to run the different programming languages on a server. Does it make sense? Do you get it what I am saying? See, there is a server. We have understood that there is a server. Where is the server? Where is the server? I understand. Where is the server? Where did we say that there is a server? It's on a cloud provided by AWS. It's on a cloud provided by AWS or Amazon, Azure or GCP. Can you set up things on GCP, AWS or Azure? There has to be some way to set these things up, right? If you are opening a laptop, if you're opening a laptop and you want to install a simple game, you have to set it up, right? You have to install the game, you have to purchase the game, you have to install the game, then you have to do something, you have to see whether the RAM is supported by your computer or not. You have to do 100 things in order to set up a game in your system, right? In your machine also. Is everyone aligned with me? Basic game if you have to add, or basic Microsoft Office if you have to add, you have to do 10 steps in order to add something, right? Similarly, if you have to buy a domain, if you have to host a server, if you have to host a backend in order to run something, you would have to need to have some sort of expertise, and someone would have to do all of this for you. Someone would have to set these things up, someone would have to run things on a server, someone would have to open the database, someone would have to do all of these things, right? The people who do this are known as DevOps or SRE or infra engineers, right? Who takes care of the infra of your house? Who takes care of the infra of your house? Some civil engineer would do that, right? They would build that house for you. Similarly, DevOps are the civil engineers for your website. Do you get it? Who architected? How to deploy is for some other day, Umang. Who deploys it is your DevOps, right? Yes, I will provide you with the notes. Don't worry. Will we explain it in detail? We will. Don't worry. This is just the scratching of the surface. This is just the setting up of the class, right? So now, one shock to all of you, which I'll give you is that all the 4 domains that I suggested, have jobs independently as well. You get it? All 4 domains have independent jobs. I've worked in companies where there are independent jobs for these domains. So there is a backend developer job, there is a front-end developer job, there is a full stack, there is a DevOps engineer, there is a database engineer. So you can land a job in either of these 4, or you learn all of these and you land a job in one of them, right? Which is a full stack developer. What is better depends on exactly what you like. I like front end, so I will become a front end. I like backend, so I like a backend, right? So this is what is the basic structure. Now I have explained things for around 20-25 minutes. For the next 3-4 minutes, let me just take some questions, some doubts, then we'll move forward. Salaries we'll cover. Vignesh, don't worry. Any question, any doubt? What is DevOps? DevOps is the civil engineer of a website. All right. Testing is included in full stack? No, there is a separate role which is testing. All right, I see that a lot of you are asking what is DevOps. Let me just take 2 minutes in order to explain that. So I'm picking this question, everyone. You can stop sending the questions because I'll not be reading them. I'll just quickly give you an understanding of what is a DevOps, right? So anyone who understands AWS, who can operate those machines, who can install install different softwares on that machine, who can take your code and send those code onto the who can take your code and send that code into the AWS, which is Amazon Web Services, which is the cloud. AWS is Amazon Web Service, which is cloud, and they can set things up. I just explained what is AWS. So listen to me. You are not listening to me. Your main concentration is on typing and sending the message. Just concentrate on listening to me. AWS is your cloud, which provides you with different huge set of machines, right? And there you will get things, and there who will set things up for you is a DevOps engineer. All right. Chalo, let us move forward on that note. What we are going to do, we are going to understand these things, right? We will understand these things. I will write them down for you. These are the things that we are going to talk about in the session today. Okay. We are going to talk about these things in the session today. Who is a full stack developer? What does a full stack developer do? Different verticals in full stack development. Why is full stack development important? Roadmaps, easiest way, advanced roadmaps for both, interviews for these roles, and packages in these roles. I hope that this is what you are looking for, and this is going to suffice for you in order to start your journey as a full stack developer, right? These are the questions that you would want me to answer, right? Any other question that you would want me to answer in the domain of the class of today, right? Chalo. So who is a full stack developer? We have answered, right? We have answered this part. What does a full stack developer do? We have answered this. Different verticals in full stack development. This is also what we have answered. Frontend, backend, DevOps, and database, right? These are the four things that we have covered. Now question is, why is full stack development important? Why is full stack dev important? See, I'll tell you few of the reasons. One is that you become an end-to-end engineer. Second is that it is easier for a full stack dev to progress to higher roles. It is easier for you to get employment. Fourth is that you can easily do freelance for different people. All right. Now, what exactly these points mean? Right? What exactly these points mean? What I am going to say is that you become an end-to-end engineer. This, though, I think everyone would have understood that. How do you become an end-to-end engineer? Second is that it will be easier for you to progress to higher roles. Why would that be? Because if you become an engineering manager or you become an architect of your team, if you are a full stack developer, it would be much easier for you. I will explain. Don't worry. On the second point, what would happen is that you can lead a team of engineers. You can understand backend. You can understand front end. So you can easily mentor them. You can easily guide them, and you can easily take them forward. Right? Does that make sense? You can become a team lead. You can become a engineering manager. Right? Next is that you get easier to how to be employed. Right? So now, what is end-to-end engineer? Who is able to do all things, Nirmal? Do the front end, do the back end, host the website, create the database. That is an end-to-end engineer, right? Now, the next question is that it is easier for you to get employment. Now, let us take an example. I will answer all of these questions at the end. Vinod, is internship available? Career gap? How to get a job? All of these questions I'll answer at the end, and I will make sure that you get these answers during the session. So don't ask these questions now. Ask them in the questions tab, and we will answer them in the end. All right. But don't ask the questions now. Don't break the flow for everyone. Request is that ask questions which are relevant to the topic for the moment. This is a request for everyone, right? Now, the second point is that how do I become, how does it get easier for me to get employment? Uh, in the cricket team, if you understand cricket, who is the most sought after player in the cricket team? Who is the most sought after player in the cricket team? Is that the all-rounder? Is that the all-rounder? Sir Jadeja, Hardik Pandya, Ben Stokes, right? Because they can do two things. They can do two things. They can do batting, they can do bowling, they can do both the things. So you are obviously going to be an asset to the team. You are going to be an asset to the team, right? Now, let us take an example from outside cricket as well. If someone is a music player and they are good at playing guitar, they are good at playing drums, they are good at solo singing as well, they would be more easily going into any band rather than being knowing only one thing, right? If you know more things, you are going to be easier to be employed. Similarly, you are going to be easier to be employed if you know front end, back end, database. So if there is no job for front end, you can get a job for back end. If there is no job for database, you can get a job for YouTube, right? So this is what I am suggesting to all of you, that you will it will be easier for you to get employment. Third is that you can do freelance. Now the question that comes to everyone's mind is that what is this freelance, right? What is this freelance? Freelance means that you are not employed to any company. You are not employed to any company, but you say, suppose Swarn Jyoti wants me to make a website for them. Swarn Jyoti will say, I'll give you 2 lakh rupees to making my website. I will say, okay, I will take 2 lakhs. I will take that 2 lakhs and in 1 month I will give him a website. So this is known as freelancing. You will make a website for Swarn Jyoti by using your skills. This is why full stack developer is important. This is why full stack developer is important. Now everyone, let us get to the roadmap to becoming a front end developer. All right, let me just highlight it over here. Let's start with a beginner roadmap to a front end developer. So before that, let me just explain to you types of full stack developers. No one is going to tell you about this. There are 3 types. There is a 70 backend, 30 front end, 70 front end, 30 backend, 50 front end, 50 backend. These are the 3 categories of full stack developers. These are the 3 categories of full stack developers. All right. 70 backend, 30 front end is an engineer who is primarily a backend engineer and learned the skills of becoming a front end developer. 70 front end and 30 backend, you understood, is a primary front end developer and knows some sort of backend, little bit of backend on how to becoming a 70-30 front end backend engineer. 50-50 means you are good at both. You are equivalently good at backend, equivalently good at front end. All right. Most of the people lie in this category. Very few lie in this category. It is very, very hard to lie into this category of front end and back end. What my suggestion to all of you is that you should start from being a 70-30 engineer rather than going to a 50-50 directly. Because if you are just starting becoming a full stack developer, then it would be very, very hard for you to do both at the given point of time. I would suggest that start. Am I audible, by the way, everyone? I am. All right. So I would suggest you to start with being either a front end or a back end. So what my journey was, that I started with being a front end developer, then went to becoming a back end and became a full stack. You can do either. So what I am suggesting is that what I am suggesting is that I will tell you a roadmap to becoming a front end developer. Who is it important for? How non-IT background person? For a non-IT background person also, you start with one, either a front-end developer or a back-end developer, right? So what I am suggesting is that this is very, very important. This roadmap is important for anyone who wants to become a 70-30. So if you are already a backend developer and you are looking to become a full stack developer, this roadmap is what you should carefully listen to. All right. If you are someone who is just starting, then this is important for you because you will become a 70 front-end engineer by learning all of these skills. So it is important for both type of engineers. If it is important for both type of engineers, that if you are looking to become a full stack developer, you are already a backend, listen to me carefully. If you are looking to start becoming a full stack developer and you are want to start with front end development, listen to me carefully. This is the roadmap for you. We will talk about things in detail. I will tell you things in detail. I will add material also over here. I will share this document with you, Rohit. Yes, that is what I will do. I will share this document with you. Don't worry, right? I will come over here to this roadmap. This roadmap is something that I have not built. This is available online. You can refer to it later as well. Still, I will add the link to this. I will add the link to this over here in the doc. All right. I will add this link to over here in doc. Now let us start with becoming learning the roadmap to full front end development. Just carefully listen to me for the next 10 minutes, 15 minutes, what I am suggesting. All right. First and the most important thing to becoming a front end developer is HTML. The most important thing to learn to become a front end developer is HTML. If any of your friend, if anyone of your friend or any of your mentor, anyone tells you, I will slowly teach this roadmap. Yes, feedback taken, Gururaj. If any of your friend, any of your mentor, any of your people tell you that front end development mein HTML is not important, break the friendship with them. Don't be friends with them. HTML is very, 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 very important. You need to have an understanding of HTML. Without HTML, you cannot become a good front-end developer. Why? Why is a question that would come to your mind? I will show that to you. Suppose you open this google.com. Now you open this google.com. We have already covered this also. What is that? What is served over here, everyone? If you look at it over here, what is the thing that is served? What is that is getting served to you? What is the thing that is getting served to you? HTML. HTML is what is getting served to you. So what is HTML? What is HTML? HTML is the skeleton of the body. HTML is the skeleton of the body. If you have very, 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 very good face, if you have a very, very good features, you are like the most famous actress or actor in the world. If your skeleton is weak, if your bones are breaking, then you are going to go nowhere, right? Skeleton of a web page is the most important thing. It is the structure that is going to be provided to your HTML, to your front end. If you don't know HTML, you don't know front end. All right. So HTML, we have understood what is HTML. I will take this over here. I will take all these things over here. I will come over here and put the links to HTML. HTML is very, very important. What is HTML? HTML is the skeleton of the web development. HTML makes sense. HTML makes sense. Can I get yes or no in the chat? Sure. Let us move forward then. Let us move forward to the next part. Next thing that you need to learn. Next thing that you need to learn is CSS. You need to learn CSS. Now, what is this CSS? What is this CSS? CSS is what adds the beauty to your page. CSS is what adds beauty to your page. CSS is what is going to make your page look better. CSS is what is going to make your page look much better. All right. See over here, this, if you see the screen, this is your HTML. This is the beauty of the page. This is a CSS. This is what your CSS is. This is what your HTML is. If you want to understand it in a better way, this is what your HTML, this is what your HTML plus CSS looks like. Does it make sense? Whatever is going to add to the beauty of your page, whatever is going to add to the beauty of your page, right? That is what is known as your CSS, right? What you wear, what are the clothes that you wear, what is the beard that you keep, what is the hairstyle that you keep, what is the clothes that you are wearing, what is the makeup that you are going to put is known as your CSS. And nowadays, what Sana suggested is the right answer. The filters that you put on Instagram is known as your, the filters that you put on your Instagram is what is known as your CSS of your image, right? So this is what CSS is, whatever adds beauty to your page. Now, question that would come is, why is CSS important? Why is this guy telling us CSS is important? Why do you think CSS is important? If your website, if you open a website, say suppose you opened a website and it does not look good. The look and feel of the website is bad. If it is not appealing to your eyes, what do you do? What do you do? What would Santosh do? What would Nirmal do? You will close the website, say this is some sort of spam. I don't want to open this website. They are going to take away whatever money I have in my account. And you close that website and go. Even though you have probably minus 33 balance in your account. If you probably have minus 33 balance in your account, you still would close the website thinking that they will take away whatever money I have, right? So CSS is important because if your website does not look nice, your end user would not come to the website. It has to be a clean, very good CSS. Then only your user would stay back. I will give you a real life example. I was going out with a friend. Increase the font size even further. All right. I will increase the font size even further. Chalo. Now I was going out with a friend, right? So what happened was that I was in front of a restaurant and I said, let's go to this restaurant. This looks nice. They were like, no, I don't want to go to this restaurant. The name of the restaurant is written in a very ugly font. I'm not even sure about the food that they are going to serve inside the restaurant. So people are judging you by the font of the banner that you are putting. So imagine the amount of scrutiny that you are going to get if the CSS for your web page is not good. So be very careful with CSS. CSS is important for you to land a job. CSS is important for you to make a good website. Only then you would be able to become a good front-end developer. Someone says that CSS is too hard. Preetham, you are absolutely right. CSS is little hard on the first go, but CSS in the longer run becomes easier with practice, right? It becomes easier with the practice. All right, give me 1 second, everyone. Give me 1 second.
Guys, I believe there's some network issues coming up from Siddharth's end. He will be joining back soon. So,
right. Let us move forward. CSS is something that we have understood. I will add the material for CSS as well. Now let us move forward to the next part, which is JavaScript. JavaScript is the absolute must-have for you in this industry. JavaScript is an absolute must-have for you in this industry. Without JavaScript, you are not going to become a full-stack developer ever. JavaScript is, I got it, Saroj. JavaScript is God. I got it. Everyone got it now. So JavaScript is very important because JavaScript adds interactivity to your website. JavaScript helps you become a full stack developer with Node.js. So learning JavaScript is most important. What are the things that you need to learn in JavaScript? What are the things that you need to learn in JavaScript? In JavaScript, you should know what are closures, what are events, what are event listeners, what are what do you say, hoisting, what are classes, constructor function. So there are multiple things that you need to learn in JavaScript. There are multiple things that you need to learn in JavaScript, but JavaScript is a very important thing. Yes, callbacks, promises, Ajax, multiple things. I can keep on and on and on going about JavaScript. JavaScript is my favorite language, so I can keep on going and on about JavaScript. JavaScript is very, very important and powerful. So you need to have a good understanding of JavaScript. You need to know what JavaScript is, how JavaScript works. Without understanding of JavaScript, it's impossible for you to become a front-end developer, because all these domains like React.js, jQuery, your AngularJS, Vue.js are nothing without you knowing JavaScript, right? I shared the important topics of JavaScript as well. So JavaScript is a must-have for you to become a front-end developer. It is also a must-have for you to become a back-end, full-stack developer. All right. Next, let us go to the next part. Next, you need to know and learn Git and GitHub. These are the two things that you need to know. What exactly do you think Git and GitHub is? Do you know what GitHub is? Have you heard of this? No? Right. So some of you say yes, some say no. GitHub is your version control. GitHub is your version control. What it means is, let me just quickly give you an understanding of it. See, suppose 10 developers are developing an application together. 10 developers are developing an application together. How would you be able to manage developing it together? How would you be able to manage that together? Would you go to a Starbucks and sit together and code? Would you do that? Or would you take a pen drive and you will pass on the code to everyone whenever you are done doing your code? Would you do that? Starbucks idea is not going to work. I am very, very sure about it. Starbucks idea is not going to work because Starbucks coffee is very expensive. So by the time you write the code, most probably your wallet would have become empty. So Starbucks idea does not work. So what can you do in order to do this development better? For that, you have something known as GitHub. What GitHub does is that in your local, you can add GitHub. What you can do is that you can do add GitHub, and what GitHub would do is that it will let you commit code. It will let you commit code, and your code would be taken and kept. Your code for whatever you are doing would be kept. When you take a pull from someone else's code, what pull means that you take someone else's code. It will show you that this is your code, this is the some other person's code, and you take a difference between them, and you then you display the output saying that this is the code that I need, this is the code that the other person is needing. You merge the code and you keep it online. So this is what your GitHub is known as. This is what your GitHub is known as, right? So what you would do is that version control is very, very important for you to become a front-end developer or a back-end developer. Does that make sense? What GitHub is, what version control is, and why version control is required. When multiple developers are working together on the same code base, on the same repository, in order to manage all of this, you need GitHub. Next, let's move forward to something known as package managers, NPM and package managers. Now, what explain? All right, let me just take. You did not get what GitHub is? Okay, there is a question that what is the difference between GitHub? Okay, sure, I got it. That some of you did not get it. Some of you did not get it. See, when I will write it over here, version control. Git and GitHub. What Git and GitHub does is, difference between them, between Git and GitHub is that Git is on your local machine and GitHub is the cloud hosting this software, right? So now say suppose you have a repository. You all understand what is a repository? Your code base, right? Your code base, your repository, basically in your GitHub, if you see over here, this is a repository. This is a repository where all the code is kept, right? So all the things that are required would be kept over here, right? Place where you store the code, right? You could store the code in a pen drive. You could store the code in your local system. But if you want to store the code somewhere, so that everyone can take a look at it, this is where you would store. This is known as your GitHub, where you store the code. So this is somewhere on a cloud. Like just like your Google Photos. You know Google Photos. Everyone would know Google Photos, right? Where you keep your Google Photos, your Google Drive, right? So it is like a drive where you have kept your code. It's just like a drive where you have kept your code, right? Now, say suppose 10 people want to edit that same photo. We know the class will go on for 3 hours till 11 o'clock. All right. If a lot of people are going to like edit the photo and keep the photo. Say suppose one photo is there and I edit and keep it. Someone else keeps it. Someone else also keeps it. What would happen? There would be multiple versions of that photo that would have been created, right? So someone would have twisted my nose to left side. Someone would have twisted my nose to the right side. Someone would have twisted my nose upwards. And in the end, I would not probably have a nose itself. So that is something that is not going to work, right? So how would you make sure that everything that happens in a sync? So what would happen is one developer, if they move the nose to the left, they will have a snapshot of that. Someone moves it to the right, they will have a snapshot of that. Someone moves it to the top, they will have a snapshot of that. So by the end of the session, it would probably be, I would be in a state that I could bring back my nose to the place that I wanted it to be, right? So this is what your version control is. This is what your GitHub is. I hope that now it makes sense that you make a version of each of the image that is there, keep a snapshot of it, and make sure that whatever is there is going to be remembered for what everyone has done, right? Chalo. GitHub makes sense. Now let's move forward to what your package manager and version control is. What your version control and what your package manager and your npm is, right? Now example, let's take an example. Let's take an example that Sheetal is very, very intelligent and she has built a beautiful JavaScript code and she wants that code to be given to all of the people that are there. Gururaj has built a very nice JavaScript code now and he wants to give that JavaScript code to everyone. How would Gururaj be able to give all that code to everyone? How would Gururaj give that code to everyone? How would Sheetal be able to give that code to everyone? They could probably put it in their GitHub and publish it and give it to everyone, right? They could do that, right? Now you want to use that code. Now you want to use that code into your system. You want to use that code into your program. How would you be able to do that? You will take the GitHub, you will take the code from the GitHub, and then you will copy that code and then you will paste it into your folder. You will do that, right? You will take the code, you will copy the code and you will put that. Right. So you will what now you need 10 or 15 codes. You need 10 or 15 codes from different people. You would have to go download the Git. You would have to then take the code. Then you would have to put it into your folder. You'll keep on doing this again and again and again. Right. This seems like a tedious process. Right. This seems like a tedious process. Does it or does it not? It does, right? It does, right? TDS means that it seems like a hard process. It's a very hard process, right? It is a very hard process, right? TDS, not TDS, TDS or hard. It's very hard. This process is very hard. It is time consuming, right? You would have to open a website, download the code, then put it, open a website, download, then put it, right? So now it's a tough process, right? Cumbersome process. Very good, right? So now if it is a very hard process, cumbersome process, you would not want to do that. What if I suggest you that there is going to be a library where you would have all of these things available, and you just have to go and pick and choose the things that you need and put it into your code. Just by writing one command, you can get everything that is required. You just have to maintain one file, and you just have to write one command, and everything that you need would be available to you in your system. You don't have to do hundreds of things. Does that make sense? What I'm suggesting? One file where you write that I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this. You write one command, say install this, and all those things that you need are available to you, right? Would you make your life much more easier, right? So suppose you want hundreds of books. You want hundreds of books to read. Would you be able to buy all of those books? Would you be able to buy all of those books? Which would become very hard, right? You would go to a library. You would go to probably a library and get those books. Now, if you have to go to a library and get those books, what's the process for getting those books? You could definitely buy a Kindle. But it's the easiest way would be you go to a library, and what you do is that you go to the library, you get all the books that are required. Now, how do you get books in the library? Let me write it down. How? Package manager. You go to a library, select the books, take a book card, write the names of the books, and give the book card to the librarian and get the books issued, right? This is what would happen. Yes? Can I get yes or no in the chat if this is what you do in order to get a book from library? Similarly, there is something known as NPM, which is known as Node Package Manager. In that you have Node, which acts as the library. You have package.json, which acts as your book card. NPM acts as your librarian and issues these JS packages to you. This is what the basic step. This is the basic step for getting your JavaScript libraries. This is what is the basic step for getting your JavaScript libraries. Now, not Node.js, Node. Node.js and Node are two different things, right? Node.js and Node are two different things. Node.js is your Node JavaScript. Node is your library for managing your JavaScript functions. Now you have gotten the book. Now you've gotten all the programs that are needed, right? So now what are the different types of JavaScript programs that you could need and you could get? What are the different types of JavaScript programs that you could need and you could get? Can we say that React or Angular or Vue.js, these are also JavaScript libraries? These are also JavaScript functions that you could get. Can we say that these are also functions, some sort of functions only? These are frameworks, but these are JavaScript functions only, right? So if these are all JavaScript functions, these are all JavaScript script functions, right? So these frameworks like Angular, Vue, React are JavaScript libraries. And if you need them in your code, you use package managers for it. You understand the importance of package manager now? the importance of package manager makes sense, everyone? Yes, no. Can I get yes or no in the chat if importance of package manager makes sense? To get in order to why am I getting no's in the chat? What Acha. Now whoever said no, what is the part that you did not understand? What is the part that you did not understand? Instead of yes and no, can you let me know what is the part that you did not understand? Yes, don't do that. Don't send yes again and again. I understood that you got it and you are very excited about it that you got it for the first time. Recap is what you are saying. Okay, chalo. Let's do a recap in 2 minutes. npm is nothing but it is a JavaScript. Like I want all of you to do the recap with me. All of you to do the recap with me. Why do you need these npm? Why do you need npm? What would your npm do? Would your npm do? It would be providing you with all the JavaScripts that are available in the market. It would be helping you get all the JavaScripts that are available into your market, provide the JavaScripts that are available into the market, right? What is your node? What is your node? What is your node? Node is a library. Node is a library which has all the packages, all the JavaScript functions that are kept there. Now, if you want to use one or two JavaScript function, some of the JavaScript function, what would you do? You would write that JavaScript function that I need this in the package.json and get that JavaScript function. Now, the question that comes is that why do I need this package manager? Why do I need this package manager? Can I create all the functions in the world that are required? I can. I most definitely can, right? I can create all the JavaScript functions that are required for me. I can write the code for it. I can learn a lot of knowledge and write the code. I would need infinite amount of time for that, right? You would need infinite amount of time to write that code. Now you don't have infinite amount of time to write all of this. So instead, if you could just borrow all the JavaScript functions that are written by different developers in the world into your code, would that be easier? So suppose one developer in Russia has written one code, one developer in US has written one code, one developer in Israel has written one code, and it's very easy for you to just get that code. It would save a lot of time for you, right? Lot of time and energy for you, right? So that is what is your npm is going to do, and that is why your node package manager is very, very important. All right. Can I get yes or no in the chat if now it makes sense? Sure, beautiful. Now everyone is understanding, and everyone got this part, right? Now, next part is that I mentioned that there are some frameworks of JavaScript. There are some frameworks of JavaScript or some libraries of JavaScript that you could utilize, right? React is a library. React is a library that I would recommend for all of you to use. I would say that React is a library that you should learn, and you should learn React as a library. Angular, Vue.js, both are beautiful libraries. I've used both of them. Both are nice. Both are very good libraries. But React is what I would suggest to all of you. Why? Why am I suggesting React is a question, right? Why am I suggesting React? Next.js is a superset of React. It's built on top of React, everyone. So if you want to learn Next.js, that is also something you can learn, right? React is a library that I would suggest. Why am I suggesting React? Is because can you all not send unnecessary messages for 2 minutes? I will come to that part where I will say questions, ask questions now. For now, listen to what I'm saying. I would suggest you React, because React would land, has more probability of landing you a job. React has a probability of landing you a job. React is something that is more popular in the market. There are more developers of React. React is something that is more famous in the market, and you would have more jobs in the market because of React. React is a framework. Is actually a library which makes your life easier as a developer in order to write JS code and add interactivity to your website. All right. Now, a question that has been asked multiple times now is, what is the difference between a library and a framework? There is a simple difference between a library and a framework. There is a simple difference between a library and a framework. Library is something, library and framework both are nothing but JS codes. Library doesn't force any set of rules on you. It says that this code is for your help and you can use it as you want. Framework says that this is the JS code and these are the rules and you have to abide by them. Library is something that says that this is a code, you use it any way you want to use. Framework says this is a code, you use it, but in the way that I am suggesting you to use. Framework is just like my wife or my mother. They say that you have to get the curd from the market, and that too in the next 5 minutes. You cannot get it into the next 10 minutes. You cannot get it into next 15 minutes. You have to get it in the next 5 minutes. If you don't get it in the next 5 minutes, then there is no use of it. All right. Chalo. Let us move forward. We have understood what is a framework, what is a library. We have understood both of these things. Now the most important part for anyone who is looking to become a front end, who is looking to become a 30, who's a 70 backend, who's learning to become a 30 backend front end engineer. For you, what I'm suggesting is that you should learn a CSS framework. CSS framework. You can probably skip CSS. If you are a 70 backend, 30 front end, you can probably skip front end. You can skip, CSS. You could directly jump to a CSS framework. You could learn a CSS framework like Tailwind, Bootstrap, MUI, Material UI. You could learn any of these. These would make your life easier. You could learn anything. Chakra, Kendo, all are beautiful. I'm just writing few names over here which are famous. You could learn anything. All right. Why I'm saying this is that if you are a backend developer learning to become a front-end developer and you are finding CSS as very, very hard, I don't want you to jump away from front-end. And I don't want you to say that you jump away from front-end and not learn front-end. You could take these frameworks, makes your life easier, and learn the important parts, that is JavaScript and HTML, and become a full stack developer. If you are looking to become a front-end developer, never skip CSS. CSS is most important, very important. All right. Now, in the end, what is more important is your testing frameworks. Front-end unit testing framework is very important. If you don't know front-end unit testing, it's very hard for you to land a job in Europe market for sure. If you are going to Europe and you are looking to get hired over there, you will never get a job there, because they would ask you to be having a TDD approach towards learning. Say, suppose, let's take an example that you go to a shop to buy 6 eggs, pack of 6 eggs. What are the test cases that you are going to write in this? TDD is known as test driven development. TDD is known as test driven development. I am going to explain it to you. If you go to market to buy a pack of 6 eggs, I want all of you to tell me in chat, what are the different types of tests that you would do? What are the different things that you would look for in while buying these eggs? You would look for egg. You will look for the size of the egg. You will check whether the eggs are broken or not. You will check whether there are 6 eggs or not. You will check whether it is a hen's egg or not. It is a hen's egg or not. Right? You will check the most important thing. You will check whether it is an egg or not. Whether it is an egg only or not. Right? These are the basic tests that you would do, whether it is an egg or not, whether it is a hen's egg or not, whether it is a broken egg or not, whether it is a rotten egg or not, whether there are 6 eggs or not. So these are some of the sort of checks that you would do. So you would have to check for these eggs before you buy. Similarly, when you write code, you would check whether your code it is written in a proper format or not. If you see over here, if you see that chat, if one of a flex that I would want to do in front of you is that one of show off that I want to do in front of you is that this platform that you are using is built by me and my team. So I have built the platform. It is known as Drona. We call it Drona platform. This is built by me and my team. The front end for it is written by me and my team, right? So when I wanted to test this, so what would I check? I would check whether this yes is getting clicked or not, whether this no is getting clicked or not, whether the message is shown to the end user or not, right? I would have to do these sort of checks when I'm writing code, whether the function written for yes is doing the right thing or not, right? User is able to see the video or not. So you will have to do all of these checks, right? You would have to do all of these checks while you're writing the code. So this is known as test-driven approach towards learning, towards writing code. So TDD approach is very, very important. All right. So now I have explained to you what is your front-end framework towards becoming a front-end basic developer. Basic front-end developer. All right. Did you find this interesting till now? Whatever we have understood, did you find it interesting? Did you get a gist of what front-end development is? Right? You understood the basics of it. Obviously, you are not going to understand in 1 hour what React is, how React works. All of that is not something that you'll understand. But the basic gist of it, I hope you fundamentally understood. What I am going to do, 2 things are left. Interviews for front end, and second is that how to land a job. Let me just cover this how to land a job for 2 minutes, then I will give you a quick break. Let me explain how to land a job, then I will give you a quick break. Backend development next, obviously Aditya. Next is backend development, and then we'll wrap up the session. How to land a job. First request is that try to get referral from as many people as you can. Referrals are very important. Send message to as many people as you can on LinkedIn asking for referral. If you are just starting, start as an intern or a non-paying job as well, because it is very important for you, for you to start in this industry. I will give you an example of my brother My brother started with a company where he was not even getting paid even 1 rupee, right? He worked there for 6 months, gained industry experience, then switched to a company, started earning probably 10-15,000 rupees. Slowly he grew up the ladder, and now today he's working as an engineering manager in booking.com in Amsterdam. So my request to all of you is that at least start working in some company. Don't think about money, don't think about what you are going to earn. Start and consider only one thing, and one thing that you need to learn in your job. If you are just started, if you are switching from a domain, your goal should be only to learn what you are working on, not about money, not about anything else. Just learn about one thing, but is learning that you are going to get from a job. If you are not learning anything in a job, leave that job. That job is not worth for you, but you have to learn something, right? A request that I have from all of you is that do intern and get into a job. Next, what I would suggest is that practice for the different rounds of front end and crack only one round at a time. Fifth, document each and every question asked to you in an interview. By probably 10 or 15 interviews, the questions start to repeat, right? For them to repeat, right? So do that in order to land a job. All right. Now what I want from all of you is that, do you all want a break? Do you all want a break for 5 to 10 minutes? Is a question that I have from all of you. A quick breather for 5 to 10 minutes, yes or no, in the chat would be very, very helpful. All right, I see that there are more yeses than there are nos. So let us take a quick breather before we go out. What I will do is that I will share my LinkedIn ID with all of you. If you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, my LinkedIn ID is pinned in the chat. If you want to connect with me, I would love to connect with fellow full stack developers and see how you are growing. So go ahead and connect with me on LinkedIn. Second, I would ask you to launch a quick poll, Swanjyoti. If you want to connect with me personally on a one-on-one session, if you want to connect with me on to understand whether how your career is going to progress, how you can become a full stack developer, how your journey is going to look like. If you want a personalized journey, go ahead and say yes on the chat below on the bottom right side of the screen, so that we understand that you are looking to upskill, you are looking to become a full stack developer, you are looking to join Scalar. We are not going to spam you. It's not going to be a sales call. It's a free of cost session. The poll is on the bottom right side of the screen. Go ahead and say yes or no, but interact with the poll. I see there are 800 people. I would want 800 responses on the poll. That is what is a request from all of you. Go ahead and interact with the poll on the bottom right side of the screen. I'll hand it over to you, Swanjyoti, for the next 5 to 7 minutes till the people are taking a break. Thank you.
Just to reiterate the fact, this is not a sales call. This will be a completely free of service, cost of service that we are providing from Scalar. Just like Siddharth mentioned, if you want to connect with Siddharth and the top instructors like Shrikant Verma, Suraj, Hasija, any other instructors as well, where you want to understand their journey up ahead, wherein they are coming from, how did they initiate when it comes to their journey, like what are the different salary figures that you can expect when it comes to your current career as well. Just feel free to drop in a yes in this particular poll, and within 48 hours or so, the career team would be reaching out to you with just be ready with all your questions and concerns, and they would be happy to address all your questions up ahead. Last few seconds, guys, come on. You have been a wonderful audience, so we want again some lovely interaction in these polls, just like you are doing throughout this entire session. Cool. Thank you so much, guys. for the lovely response once again. All right, guys. So before Siddharth join in, I have some very important links to share with all of you. So we have got a free class that is coming up from Anshuman Singh. For all of you who don't know about Anshuman, just to give a heads up, he's currently the co-founder of Scalar, and he has also been a part when it comes to Facebook Messenger app as well. So if you're currently using the Facebook Messenger app, most of his coding is coming from Anshuman sir itself. So I will just quickly post the link for all of you guys here. So you can just check in the blue ribbon section. Feel free to register in this particular event wherein Anshuman will be talking about how to like revamp your resumes, how to crack high salaries when it comes to the different SD opportunities that you are looking forward to, or if you are like taking participation when it comes to the different top tech based product companies as well. Like how can you like present yourself and speak throughout this entire interview session. So all of this is something Shrikant Anshuman sir would be discussing in throughout this entire session. So feel free to join in this session. Again, just to mention, this will be a very short and dynamic session consisting of very less number of people. So we will try to focus as many as questions throughout the session itself so that we can clear like your queries throughout up ahead. Cool. With this being said, many of you who wants to connect with either Prakash or Shriram in a one-on-one format. So I will just quickly paste a Typeform link here. So you can just post all your queries and concerns in this particular form itself and submit like to the team itself. And within a few days or so, the team again will be reaching out to you, wherein you'll be connecting with them in a one-on-one format, just like we are having a conversation in this particular platform. You can just have the same here. Nice. And for those people, guys, who missed out on the opportunity to join the WhatsApp link, wherein Prakash and Shriram is waiting for all of you to get all your doubts and queries getting answered, just quickly join in this particular link once again, so that like you are not missing out on anything when it comes to your concerns, your queries, how to get into such brilliant roles. They will be addressing all those questions based on their availability as well. Now, guys, a lot of you were asking like how to join the Discord and the Telegram groups as well. So I will just quickly launch that part here, so that if you are missing out on the notes, if you are missing out on any sort of things that Siddharth would be sharing in this particular session, the best part is that this is a very entirely different platform where you can connect with the SDs, the data scientists all together. So you can obviously do that. Now, as I just quickly shared the link for Prakash and Shriram with all of you guys here. Now, for the people who missed out on the opportunity to react and in that particular poll, I will just quickly launch that poll one more time for all of you guys here. So again, guys, reiterating the fact, this is a wonderful opportunity wherein if you want to connect with Shriram or Prakash in a one-on-one format, this will be a completely free of cost service that we are offering from Scalar. Again, reiterating, this will not be a sales call. The best part is that you will be connecting with them in a one-on-one format, just like you are doing with us in the same way, on the same manner itself. I will just request you to do one thing only. Just put down, just note down all your questions, how to get into such brilliant roles, just like they did, how to vanquish over career gaps. Like I got a lot of questions, people asking me like, I was not having a good set of experience, a good set of background, like how can I get into such brilliant SD roles. So if you have reacted yes to the particular poll, the team would be again reaching out to you and you can connect them with them in a one-on-one format. Now, guys, for all the notes and links that Siddharth is sharing throughout this entire session, I'm just quickly sharing the WhatsApp group for all of you. Just quickly join in right away, so that you are not missing out on any notes or any particular thing that is Siddharth would be sharing with you throughout this entire masterclass. So once this session is ending, I will be posting in all the links and everything for all of you. Shakar, I will just let you know how to download the certificates. Before that, guys, I have a very interesting thing to share with all of you. So let me just share my screen. So guys, this is an internal platform called Slack, okay, that is associated with Scalar here. So this is wherein we post in the daily placements record of different learners who are getting placed in different platforms. Like it could be like Scalar Academy, Scalar Data Science. So I will just quickly give a walkthrough about this entire platform. So as you can see, someone got a like entire package of 27 lakhs. Someone got a package of 49 lakhs. Someone got a package of even 16 lakhs from Tech Mojo. Similarly, someone got a package from JP Morgan around 40 lakhs itself. So that's a huge number that we are talking about. We are talking about again 15 lakhs or so. So this is how, like, we would love to celebrate. As you can see, too many emojis coming up. So we love to celebrate all the little success that we have when it comes to Scalar itself, and the placement team is always associated with them. So what I will do is that, guys, if you want to connect with all these sort of learners, okay, I will give you a very good opportunity to connect with them in a one-on-one format. If you want to just have, like, you can just let them know, like, how did they get into such brilliant roles and got so high numbers, like 40 lakhs, 27 lakhs. It's humongous numbers, right? So if you want to understand their journey, how did Scalar help them in terms of their transition ahead? Like how to achieve such good numbers. So you can definitely like click on yes in this particular poll, and the team would be getting in touch with you for whatever so queries you have. If you want to connect with any person, a mentor, if you want to understand the interview patterns, if you want to understand the fee structure, how does the scholarship part works, anything regarding to Scalar, you can just again click on yes, and the team would be getting back to you soon as well. On this note, I can see Siddharth has joined in the session. So Siddharth, if everything is again going good from your
Yes.
end, you can just take it forward for the next lovely half year.
Right.
Over to you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Swanjyoti, for holding the fort for us till the time we were all taking a break. Can I get yeses or nos in the chat if all of you are back? You are. That is a good news. Right. Now, what were we talking about? Rounds as a front end developer. Interested in learning this? Rounds as a front end developer? Yes. Sudhanshu says I did not go anywhere. Thank you, Sudhanshu, for staying with us for so long. Right. See, first round that you would have is a machine coding round. Now, everyone would be like, what does this machine coding round mean? Right? What does this machine coding round mean? Machine coding round means this: they would ask you to build something in approximately 3 hours of time. What it means is, like, what could they ask you to make? A question that comes to our mind is, they could ask you to make a um, comment section of FB, e-commerce search bar, right? A game like snakes and ladders or Tetris. Games or things like this is what they could ask you to make in the 3 hours of time in a machine coding round. Now, how do I practice for machine coding round? How do I practice? You should do as many projects as you can on React and JS. Projects like e-commerce clone, YouTube clone, Netflix clone, make games. These are must-have. These are a must-have for you to land a job, right? 99% companies ask this question, Anand. 99% companies ask you to make something, because say suppose I want to hire an engineer in my team, I would most definitely want to see whether the developer is able to write code or not, whether they are able to write code or not, right? So you need to have an understanding of these. You have to write the code. You have to practice and make a lot of projects. Next, what do you need to learn? What do you need to? What is the round that you would have? You would have a basics round, which they would cover HTML, CSS, JS. These are the things that would be covered. Right? Third round would be your framework round, in which you would be asked for React, Vue, or Angular JS framework and questions around these frameworks. All right. Is Figma, Sketcher, Blender necessary for front-end developer? It's not a mandatory skill. Knowing that simple how to fetch things out of Figma is enough. All right. Fourth round can be a mix of basics and framework round. Some people call it as a bar raiser as well. Bar raiser round, where a senior person from the team would come and ask you questions and see whether you are good enough to be hired in the team or not. Right? Is Next.js asked in interviews? Next.js is nothing but it is built on top of React. So people generally interview you on React and not on Next.js. All right. Now, next is your cultural fitment round, in which they would ask you questions like how did you solve a difficult problem? How did you do this? How did you do that? Yeah, these are the rounds. Yes, very good question. A question had been asked that no DSA is asked also. So this round can either be basic round or a DSA round. So these are this round can be also added, right? Very good companies which want you to be a very good front end developers can sometimes skip this round as well of do that, but some companies ask you a DSA round as well. These rounds can be interchanged. Don't think that these rounds would be in the same order only. They can be interchanged also. Cultural fitment is your round where your CTO or CEO will come and talk to you. The senior member of the team would come and talk to you, so seeing whether you have a positive attitude. It's kind of like an HR round. It's like a kind of like an HR round that you would have. All right, let's go to now backend roadmap. Right, let's go to the backend roadmap now. Enough of talk about front end. Let's understand some sort of things about backend roadmap as well. 70% backend engineer. If you want to become a 70% backend engineer, what are the things that you need to do? Right? What are the things that you need to do in order to become a 70% backend engineer? 30% front-end engineer if you wanted to be. You have already uncovered the roadmap. Now we'll understand what is the back-end roadmap for it. Now, how internet works, what is DNS, what is domain name, what is hosting, how does internet work, what is HTTP, all of this. So we have already covered, right? We have covered all of this. This is covered in the beginning of the session. So this is very important for both the front-end developer and the back-end developer. So you need to have an understanding of how internet works as both a front-end developer and a back-end developer. Now, what is left to learn? What is needed to be learned? You have to pick one back-end language to pick on the server end, right? Pick one backend language on the server for the server, right? Now, what are the different backend languages? One is Java, second is your Ruby on Rails, then you have Python, you have PHP, you have Node.js, you have Go, you have .NET, you have C++, you have C hash, right? Mostly these Mostly these are the languages that you have, right? So now, what am I suggesting? I'm suggesting pick one. What a general mistake that people do, what a general mistake people do is that they try to learn multiple things. That's a mistake that I have also done. I knew C++, I learned C hash, I learned .NET, then I learned Node.js, then I started learning Python. I know Ruby on Rails. Then when I started learning Python, one of my mentor told me that don't do this. Learn one language and learn that very properly. Don't pick multiple languages. Learn one thing, become a master of it. Don't become a jack of all trades. You have to be a master of one. So I would suggest pick one of them. Java is the market leader, and most of the companies, it still has probably 50% of the share, right? Ruby on Rails is for startups, right? If you want to start early, it's for startups. Python is something that I would say is a good option. Because there are two types of opportunities in Python. One is that you can become a web developer. Second is something that you can do is you can also use Python in your DSML, your data science and machine learning. So Python, if you learn Python, you would have a good opportunity in two domains. So Python is a good thing. PHP is something that I would say that not a lot of companies are starting up with PHP now. PHP used to be a language that used to be very powerful. Facebook was built on PHP, but now companies have slowly started getting away from PHP. It has become little outdated in nature. People have not used PHP. It's mostly useful for legacy code handling, right? PHP is used for legacy code handling. What I would suggest is Node.js is a good place to be in the current market. You can learn Node.js. Node.js is very good. Node.js can land you a good job. Node.js, it is going to become easy for you to become a full stack developer. The fastest, I told you, right? I promised you that I will tell you the fastest way to become a full stack developer. And the fastest way to become a full stack developer is follow the basic roadmap of frontend, and then you learn what is Node.js. Node.js is built on top of JavaScript. So learn JS properly and become either a MERN stack developer or a mean developer. So what is a MERN stack? MERN stack is nothing but Mongo, Express, React and Node. Mongo, Express, Angular and Node. You could become either of MERN or a mean stack developer. MERN or a mean stack developer have a very good amount of market share right now. They are very sort of developers. They are well sort of developers. People are looking for these developers, right? If you learn JavaScript properly, you could either become a Mongo or a MERN or a mean stack developer. In this, the core is always going to remain as JavaScript. So if you want to become a full stack developer and want to become a full stack developer fast, this is the fastest roadmap to becoming a full stack developer. Companies like Shari.com, Naukri.com, multiple other companies hire Node.js developers, hire MERN stack developers. So I would suggest that you could pick Node.js if you are starting up right now, and you could become a good developer. Mongo is the database for your Node, and your Express is a framework on top of Node. All right. Now you could pick Go, .NET, C hash, C++, any of these also, right? Go is also very up and coming in the market right now, but not a very huge market share is there. .NET is something that is still relied upon by banking companies, right? Banking companies still use .NET and C hash, so they consider it to be the most reliable one of all of them. So if you want to get into the banking industry, you can probably learn C hash or .NET. That would also land you a job in banking industry, but other industries don't use these very often. Other industries don't use this very often. They still choose either Node or Python or Java. So now you have understood that why picking one of the language is very important, right? Is this part clear, everyone? Now, if you are looking to become a full stack developer, if you are someone who is looking to become a full stack developer, picking one language is very important. Pick one language and pick it very carefully. Next, version control. We have already talked about it. In backend also, you need to have a good understanding of version control, right? Next is you need to pick either a relational database or a NoSQL database. You have to pick a database. You have to pick a database. Pick a DB. Now, what is that? What does that mean? What is this relational database? DB, and what is this NoSQL database? Now, let me explain both relational and NoSQL databases to you in next 2 to 5 minutes. All right. Now, say suppose that you want to maintain a list of all the people that you know. All the people that you know. What would you do? How would you make the list? If you want to make a list of all the people that you know, you could probably create a table and you could write down that serial number 1, I know Rahul, serial number 2, I know Ankush, serial number 3, I know Mrinal. Like that, you can make a table. Right? Now you want to make a list of all the friends out of this that are there. All the friends that are there that you have. Out of this, all the friends also that you have. What would you do? You could create one more table. You could create one more table suggesting something like this. So one table like this, one table like this, one Ankush, 2 Rahul, 3 Mrinal, like this, 4 Arjun, right? And second table, which is probably a friends table suggesting that 1 and probably one of the users people table suggesting that this is a ID of this, and over here we will keep the people ID, and then you say 2 and 3. So now I have made 2 tables. One is the list of people I know, one is the list of friends that I have. So what I said that instead of keeping everything over here, I could just keep one more table which says that serial number 1 in the list of friends, I have that who have people ID 1. So who has people ID 1? Ankush. So Ankush is a friend of Siddharth. Rahul is a friend of Siddharth. Mrinal is a friend of Siddharth. But Arjun is not a friend of Siddharth. He's just a person he knows, right? He's just a person Siddharth knows. So now if I have to give out the list of people Siddharth knows, would it be easy for me to give? The list of people that Siddharth knows, would it be easy for you to give? It would be, right? You could just take everything that is there in this database and give it. Now, if I want to find a list of people that, find a list of friends that Siddharth has, how would I find it? How would I find the list of friends that Siddharth has? How would I find the list of friends that Siddharth has? You would have to somehow merge the 2 tables and get the data. You would have to somehow merge the 2 tables and get the data, combine the data. Rahul is right. You would have to make a relation between the 2 tables and get the data. You would have to make a relation and get the data, right? Yes? Makes sense, right? You would have to make a relation of the 2 tables and get the data somehow, right? So now, if I have to make the relation between these 2 tables and get the data, then I would be able to get this. So this is known as your relational database, which is the most primitive, and the databases that have been used for years and years. So databases like MySQL, SQL, MySQL, PostgreSQL, these are some of the databases that you could use. So over here you can see PostgreSQL, MySQL, MariaDB, MSQL, Oracle. You could pick one of the databases that you need. You could pick one of the databases out of these multiple databases that we have talked about, right? Now, what is this NoSQL database? What is this NoSQL database? What is this NoSQL database? We understood what is this SQL database. So what would this NoSQL database be? There databases where there is no relation between the data, there is no relation between the data, there is no relation between the tables, there is everything is dumped together in one go. Everything is dumped together in one go. Say suppose I want to maintain a list of users. I want to maintain a list of users and the number of times that they visit the website. So like say suppose you open Netflix, right? And you open your friend's Netflix. What does, sometimes it bans you, right? It does not let you in. It says that number of users that are logged into Netflix is way too much and it's not possible. You have bought the account for one person and there are 99 people that are using this, right? That happens, right? That you are using Netflix from your friend's account and they do not let you in. How do they do it? How would they maintain it? They would probably maintain multiple sessions of the people that are there. They would maintain multiple sessions of the people that are there. So they would probably create a sessions table. In which they would say that let me just keep the ID of the account ID, and probably a user ID and the IP address of the user, right? So now account ID, say suppose 1, user ID 1 came, IP address say suppose 192.192.12.22. This is the IP address, right? Now next user came. So now the next user's IP address, account ID was the same, user ID changed, IP address also changed, right? Similarly, next user came, account ID was the same, user ID became different, IP address became different. Now tomorrow if you want to find quickly that how many users with account ID 1 have logged into this account, it would be very easy, right? You could just say that account ID 1, how many users have logged in? You have to find it, right? You could quickly find the data that account ID 1 who have how many users are logged in. You could find the data over here quickly, right? Instead of this, one more thing I could do, right? I could just say that I could keep a number like this, account ID and number of logins that have happened. So I could say 1, 3, 2 account ID, there have been 4, as soon as 5, as soon as one session gets added, I keep on incrementing over here. So one more user for account ID 2 logged in, you just make it 6. One more user for this account ID added, you make it 3 account ID, 7 people have added. So every time a user logs in, you could maintain a table, right? Sessions of account, not a table. You could keep a document like this, right? Like in a notebook, you could keep on writing like this, that account ID 1 how many times, account ID 2 how many times, account ID 3 how many times. You could keep on incrementing like this. So finding the data through a table, would that be easier? Or just like this over here, would this be easier, where you would have to probably count? Over here you have the count and number both together available to you. What would be easier? Second approach would be much easier, right? Where you have the account ID, you have the number in front of it, and quickly you are able to write. So now when you want to read the data quickly, your NoSQL makes sense. Now my question to all of you is that why would you want to read this data very, very quickly? Why would you want the data to be read quickly? because you would want a better real-time performance. You would want to reduce the buffer time. You would want to reduce the latency. You would want a quicker response. So say suppose Siddharth logged into Netflix, and there is a loader that keeps on showing where the database is getting the data, finding whether Siddharth has been logged in or not, how many accounts Siddharth has been logged in from, how many people are using this account, how many user IDs, how many IP addresses. It would become slow. You don't want that. You want that Siddharth, okay, 4 sessions, quickly you make it, show that to the user and quickly let them in, or show them that you have to log out from some of the devices, right? So you would have to store the data wherever the retrieval is important, wherever the retrieval has to be quicker, wherever the sessions retrieval has to be faster, you would use NoSQL. Wherever you want the data to be very accurate, there you use SQL. Where data needs to be quickly read, then you use SQL, NoSQL. Now my question for all of you, and whoever answers this question first would get a chocobar from me, whoever answers this first. In a banking website, what would you use, SQL or NoSQL? Arghya answered this first. SQL is the answer. Let us give Arghya the chocobar that Arghya deserves. You can pick any of the chocobar that you like, Arghya. You can pick any of the chocobar that you like. Whichever you like, you can pick. You can eat it, enjoy it, and let us know how did you like it or not. In a virtual session, you would get a virtual chocobar itself, right? So now, in a banking website, why would you use an SQL? Why would you use an SQL database is a question that I would want to understand, right? Say suppose Arghya sent money to Aniket. Right? Now, this must have happened with each and every one of you. I call this a mini heart attack solution. Situation. I send money. Arghya sends money to Suyash. Now Arghya sends money to Suyash, saying that Arghya sends 1 lakh rupees to Suyash, right? And the transaction happened on Arghya's end. The money got deducted on Arghya's end, and Suyash did not receive the money. What would happen? Arghya would get a mini heart attack. Thinking that my money is gone. But if you have a SQL database, what it will do, it will roll back the transaction for you. You get a message, right? That if the transaction did not happen, your money would be sent back to you. So what happens is Arghya would send the money, it would get deducted. If it did not reach Suyash's account, what happens is the money is again sent back to Arghya's account. Saying that the money was not being able to transfer. So if X amount was sent from A to B, if X left from A and did not reach B, X will always come back to A. X amount, if it was sent from A to B and it would not reach B, if it did not reach B, it will come back to A. This is what is known as rollback in SQL. It's known as rollback. It's in SQL, and that is why SQL is more secure. It is more safer in order to create banking websites. Why it's not done in NoSQL? They are trying to do it in NoSQL, but it's still not there, Samaira, right? It's still not there, Pavitra. So it's better to use SQL when you are making a banking website. But when you are making a website where you need to have this sort of system, where you need to have a sessions count, there you would use NoSQL. Now you get it what SQL and NoSQL is, I hope. Let us move forward then, right? Let us move forward. Give me just 1 minute. I'll have a quick sip of water. Chalo, we have picked either a relational database or a NoSQL database. Now, what you would want to do is you would need to gather information about, as a backend developer, you would have to have information and you would need to understand what are the different OS concepts that are there. Different OS concepts, operating system concepts. So if you are from computer science background and your teacher was probably teaching you in college that there is something known as LRU cache, there is something known as caching, there is something known as processes, threads, and you were not paying attention and throwing a plane around in the class, or you are talking to your neighbor, my friend, you did a wrong thing. It is very important for a backend developer to know OS concepts. OS concepts is what your backend development is built on top of. So you need to go back and revise those OS concepts. Now you need to understand what is your multi-threading, what is your input output management, how operating system works, what is memory management, what is processes, what is process management, what is LRU, what is first in, first out, all of these things, what are deadlocks, what are semaphores. Yes, you need to learn all of these things. So you need to learn memory management. You need to learn what is threads, what are processes. You need to learn all of these things. These are very, very important for you. These are very, very important for you. Memory allocation, all these things are important. You need to understand these OS concepts well, right? Now, next comes to the point where we would have to understand, we would need to learn more about databases. We would need to learn more things in the databases. What is asset properties? What are N+1? What are transactions? So I explained what a transaction is, right? How to roll back a transaction, how transaction happens, what is asset properties. I have made you understand. So you have to understand how your databases work, fine, right? Let me give you one more example. Say suppose you have a database. We are talking about SQL database. Okay, we are talking about an SQL database for now. So say suppose you have an SQL database, and in an SQL database you have a lot of data. So say suppose you have 1 crore entries of a data, and you want to find whether there is name Siddharth in that database or not, in that table or not. How would you find that? How would you find whether there is a person named Siddharth in the database or not? What would you do? You would query. And what would SQL internally do? What would SQL internally do? It will go over each and every row in the database and find the data. It would go over each and every row in the database and find the data, whether there is Siddharth available in the database or not. Search the table. So if you find 1 crore rows to find whether Siddharth, in the worst case, we are talking about worst case, probably Siddharth could be in the first name only, so you would have done it in one search. But if there are 1 crore rows and Siddharth's name is available at 1 crore position, you would have to do 1 crore times. You would have to find whether Siddharth is there. Would it be time consuming? Yes, it would be, right? Now say suppose 1 lakh users are there online at a given instance of time. 1 lakh users are there at a given instance of time, and those 1 lakh users are looking for Siddharth itself. So 1 lakh into 1 crore, 1 lakh into 1 crore times you would be looking for Siddharth. So it would be 1 lakh into 1 crore. Imagine the amount of time it would take for your backend and your database to find Siddharth, right? Your computing power would go crazy. Your system would crash and come down, right? Does it make sense? It would consume a lot of time, right? It would consume a lot of time. It would become very hard for you to find Siddharth. Why Vipin says? Because 1 lakh times in a system, if you find for a name and it is taking 1 crore computations, so 1 lakh into 1 crore computations happening at a given instance, your system is most definitely going to crash, right, Vipin? If you in your phone or in your laptop open 10 or 15 programs at a given point of time, your system starts to hang. We are talking about 1 lakh into 1 crore computations. That's like very, very big, right? So now, how could you make it better? What as an engineer would you do in order to make it better? If you would have queried this data, one answer could be that I could probably make it a bigger, I would buy a bigger system. I would buy a bigger system. If you buy a bigger system, that would be very hard, right? It is going to cost you a lot of money. It's going to cost you a fortune in order to buy a bigger system. Now, you could probably somehow optimize your query. You could somehow optimize how you are getting the data. You could somehow index the data better. You could somehow say that I could shorten the search query. I could probably find only the names in S first. So if there are probably out of 1 crore, there are only 1 lakh records with S. Your search query has optimized to 1 lakh into 1 lakh now. Your query has optimized into 1 lakh into 1 lakh, right? It would become much more faster. Now, instead of this, I would say that what if I do this? I do SID. So SID, names having SID would have even lesser probability, right? Names having SID would have even lesser probability, probably only 1000 to your system. So now you have reduced your query size from 1 crore into 1 lakh to 1000 into 1 lakh, right? 1 lakh into 1000, right? Much faster. Your system becomes faster. Your system does not crash, right? One question has been asked beautifully: can we directly use Siddharth? If you would directly use Siddharth, then your indexes that would have been added, the indexes that you would add would be again 1 crore, and it would not add any capability to you. Instead, you should add indexes like this: S, SA, SI, SI, SO, SE, like this. So the indexes become smaller in size, and then your data would be fetched faster, right? So indexing is very, very important in databases. So databases, you would say indexes, acid properties, transactions. These are the things that are important for you to learn. Right? Now, I am going to the more advanced and complex topic. This is for advanced backend developer. All right. You have to learn how to scale your databases. Scale your databases. Now, question would come that why do you need to scale your databases, right? Say suppose you started an organization and you kept 1000 records into your database. One record took probably 1 KB of data. You had 1000 KB of memory available to you. 1000 KB of memory available, 1000 records came, you added one system, one backend machine, and it worked. Now you have 1 million users. One record takes 1 KB of data. You have 1 million users. How many backend devices would you need? One device is 1000 KB. One device is 1000 KB, and you have 1 million users. It would be a crazy number, right? 1 million into 1 KB is what you would need, divided by 1000. So those number of machines you would need, 1 million into 1 KB divided by 1000 is the number of machines that you would need, right? In order to store all of this data. Is it making sense? Does it make sense what I'm suggesting? Can I get yeses or no's in the chat if it makes sense what I'm suggesting? If you have 1 million users, 1 KB of data for each user, one machine can have 100. I'll write the computation for you. 1 KB of data, 1 KB of data taken by one user. You have one machine equal to 1000 KB of space, and you have now 1 million users. 1 million users. So what would be the number? 1 million into 1 KB. This is the amount of space that you would need. This is the amount of space that you would need, Prince, right? This is the amount of space that you would need, right? And how many machines would you need now? How many machines would you need? You would need 1 million into 1 KB divided by 1000 KBs. These are the number of machines that you would need, correct? These are the number of machines that you would need in order to get. Now, the data would have to be scattered across these machines. Thus, data would have to be scattered across all of these machines. Everyone with me? You would have to somehow store the data of different users across these machines. Some data in one machine, some data in another machine, some data in another machine. Like this, you would have to scatter the data. Can I get yes or no in the chat if it makes sense? How would you scatter this data? How would you scatter this data? You would have to find some mechanism in order to scatter this data, right? Probably first 1000 users data come into 1000 first machine, second users 1000 goes into second, third goes into third, fourth, like that. You keep on doing, right? That is one way to do it. Now, say suppose this is 1 KB of data taken by one user to store user record. Tomorrow, you want to store one more record for the user. One more record for the user. What would you do? What would you do? You would have to add more machines. Say suppose one more record is going to take 1 KB. So you would have to add more machines into the system, right? In order to scale the system, you would have to add more machines. Now you would have to manipulate the data in a one more way. This is known as scaling. This is known as scaling of your DBs. This is known as scaling of your DBs in the case where there is lot of data. There is lot of data. This is something that is required for an advanced backend developer, not for a basic backend developer. Next we go to caching. Next we'll go to caching. Caching is very important for a basic backend dev as well. Now, what does caching mean? How does caching work? Let me just explain it to you. I'll take probably 5 minutes of your time to explain caching. What is caching? How does caching work? I'll explain in 5 minutes. Say suppose you want to, Nilanjan wants to make tea. Nilanjan wants to make tea. What would Nilanjan do? In order to make tea, what would be the basic requirement for Nilanjan to make tea? He would need tea, he would need milk, he would need water, he would need probably sugar, right? Say suppose Nilanjan, so now Nilanjan needs milk. Nilanjan needs milk. What would Nilanjan do? Nilanjan will go to the shop, buy milk, come back and make tea. Nilanjan is making milk tea. So Nilanjan will go to the market, get tea, milk, make the tea, right? Now, next day Nilanjan wants to make tea again. What would Nilanjan do? Follow the same process, go to the market, get milk, make tea. Next day, Nilanjan will again go to market, get tea, milk, and then make tea. Is this the most efficient use of time that Nilanjan is doing? Or you could do this better? What could you do? What could you do? You could take the milk. You could take the milk and probably store the milk in the fridge and then make the tea every day. Then when the milk gets over in the fridge, then you go back and buy the milk. Then you go back and buy the milk and keep and store again. So what is this fridge? What is this fridge doing for you? What is this fridge doing for you? This fridge is doing one thing. It is acting as a cache for you. It is acting as a cache for you. It is storing the data in the middle place, not at the source, not at the receiver. It is storing at the middle place. It is a temporary place where you are storing the data, right? So this is what is known as caching. Say suppose a new movie is launched. A new movie is launched in India, right? Now that new movie is launched. Say suppose Chor Nikal Ke Bhaga, right? Now you want to watch that. You know that that movie is going to be very very hit, right? Now you are going to watch that movie. Say suppose RRR is launched. Now lot of people in India are going to watch this movie, but the servers of Netflix are in US. So if you start watching that movie and you get the data from US, you get the data from US, would it take a lot of time for that data to come, or would it be fast? There would obviously be latency because of distance. There would be latency because of distance. It would take some time for the data to come from US to India. It will take a lot of time for data to travel from US to India, because the data transfers from the underground optical fiber cables that have been put from India to US. From that the data is going to transfer. So if the data is going to take a time to travel from US to India, what could be a better and easier way? What would you do? What would you do, Priyanka, in order to make this better, in order to make it efficient? What would you do? Idris, what would you do? You could probably have a temporary storage, just like our refrigerator. You could keep the data probably in India itself. If your data would have been kept in India, that latency would have been lesser, right, Priyanka? Aligned with me, Abhishek, right? Right? Your data could be stored in India. The data would have been faster. So can I say that I would buy one server in India, and in India itself, I will keep the movie RRR? Instead of bringing the data from US, I would keep the data of RRR in India itself. Now, RRR's craze has been like gone away now. RRR has been there for some time, and now everyone has watched RRR and it's done. Now your new movie came, Jawan came. Now Jawan came. What would you do? What would you do? What would you do? You would probably replace RRR from the nearby servers, and you would make Jawan as the replacement for it. You will store Jawan in that instead of RRR now in those servers, because the limit of data that server can keep is limited, right? The server is not infinite. So server can keep only this much information. So now you will keep Jawan instead of RRR in the Indian server. So the Indian audience, if they are looking for a movie, get the data faster. And if anyone wants to watch RRR, they can still fetch the data from US and have little bit of a flaky experience instead of having a very very good experience. So caching is the process of temporarily storing data at a middle place and getting the data faster, retrieving the data faster. All right, does caching make sense? Then I will move forward. Then all the advanced concepts are there in backend. Advanced concepts are there in backend, which are known as testing. Testing, so we understood that. Yes, hey, testing, I understand. Right? Now, a lot of people are asking CI/CD. What is CI/CD? What does CI/CD mean? What does CI/CD mean? CI/CD is also very, very, very important. What does CI/CD mean? It is continuous integration, continuous deployment, continuous integration, continuous deployment. What does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? Say suppose there are 10 developers that are writing code, right? There are 10 developers that are writing code. So that 10 developers have written the code. Now the code is ready to be given to the end users, right? So say suppose Rahul, yes, I'm explaining, Guru Raj, right? Rahul has written the code which has to go on to production, right? Now in this platform itself, the platform that you are seeing, the Drona platform that you are seeing, right? There is a feature that I want to add, that at any point of time, if anyone uses an abusive word, I would want to ban them automatically. What would I have to do for that? I would have to write some code for that, right? Rahul, Samson, aligned with me? Rohit aligned with me that I would have to write some code in order to make this change. I would have to say that every time I would have to create a dictionary of abusive words. And every time someone types something, I match with that dictionary and I then ban that user. I ban that user. That's what I would have to do. Now Rahul has written the code. That code has to somehow go to the server. Now that code has to somehow go to the server. Yes, is everyone with me? That code that Rahul has written has to go to server somehow, so that that new code would be served. Now, whenever Rahul opens the website, whenever Anand opens the website, Anand would follow the same process. What happens, right? www.google.com, go to DNS, fetch that website, then display that to the client. Whatever is displayed to the client, where is it given that? Where is that data given from? Where is that data given from? From the server. That data is given from the server. Can I get yes or no in the chat? Yes, it is given from the server. Right? Now, if the data is given to you from the server, who puts the data on server? Who puts the data on server? Who puts the data on server? The latest data. Who puts the latest data on the server? There is something, there is a DevOps engineer we talked about who sets up a server for you where the data would be put, right? Where the data would be put. Now, if the data has to be put onto the server, there can be a process, right? Can I say that? Can I make a process? Very, very easy process that whenever someone commits a code, there are going to be some set of tests that are going to run. There is some sets of tests that are going to run. As soon as Rahul commits the code, a pipeline runs where the code would be automatically tested. I talked about the test cases in the beginning, right? The code, you could have written the test cases. The test cases would run on the top of the code. Pipeline is nothing but you can think of some set of code that is written, Niranjan, which is going to run, which is going to work in a sequential manner. That is why we call it a pipeline, sequence of operations. So one operation suggests that run all the test cases that you have on top of Rahul's code. Run the code on top of Rahul's code. So see whether the person is getting banned or not. Write as many abusive words and see whether the people are getting banned or not. Right? Do this using a test case. If that works fine, then you next run some set of code which is going to take Rahul's code, upload it onto the server. So you would have to make a bundle, you would have to make a zip, you would have to go onto the server, unzip, install the code, then come out and then run that code, right? All of this process that I suggested is known as CI/CD, continuous integration, continuous deployment. Does that make sense? What CI/CD is? You are continuously integrating the code by running some set of instructions and continuously deploying those. Okay, you're continuously integrating, continuously deploying that code. So this is very important for a backend developer, for a front-end developer also, CI/CD. Now, one or two advanced concepts that are left, I will explain. Then we can probably start taking the doubts and start, understanding what you have understood or not. What is the most important part of web? That every developer should know is REST APIs. What are these APIs? Now, your backend and frontend has to interact with each other. Yeah, right? Your backend and frontend have to interact with each other. How would they interact? Can you tell me in chat? How would they interact? How would they talk to each other? Using HTTP, right? Now, if you're someone says WhatsApp in the chat, that is the best answer that I have for today. Using Omegle is also one way to interact. But are you sure that the other person would stay? They would probably close the chat and go away. So you can communicate between the two using HTTP requests, where you would send the data from the server to the client. Now, why do I need to make this connection and why do I need to send data between the two client and the server. Why do I need to do that? Why do I need to do the connection between the server and the client? Why do I need that? Can everyone tell me? To get some information from the server. To get some information from the server, right? Now, say suppose I opened a website and the website was served. I was talking about the example of Hotstar. Hotstar was served. Now, whether the user is logged in or not, you could do an API call and fetch that data, right? You could fetch the data suggesting that this user had asked for this information. Whether this user is permitted to get the data or not is known as an API call. There is something known as CRUD. CRUD that every backend developer should know. Create. Can you all tell me the full form for CRUD? Anyone? Create, read, update, delete. Create, read, update, and delete. Now, what is going to be CRUD? So basically, when say suppose you are going to sign up to a system, when you are going to sign up to a system, you have created a record of yours into the system that is known as create. Now, when you have read some data, like what I said, whether the user is logged in or not, is known as read. When you want to go to the settings page and change some data, that is going to be update. Now when you go to that website and say that I don't want to be part of your website anymore, your data is going to be deleted. So that is known as CRUD. How does that happen? How does all of this happen? This happens because of using of APIs. What is that format in which this data is transferred? What is that format in which this data is transferred? This is known as JSON. JSON is nothing but JavaScript object notation. This is the way in which data is transferred from your front end to backend, backend to front end. JSON is the language in which the data is transferred between the backend and the front end. Understood? Makes sense, everyone? Interesting? Finding it interesting? Yes? Sure. Let's move forward. Now, JSON data is shared between the backend and the front end. So you have to understand what your JSON APIs are, what your REST APIs are, how your CRUD works, what happens in this, what happens in that. Now the last part, let me explain. There is this over here, you will see this JWT, SAML, token auth, basic auth, OAuth, cookie base. So you need to learn authentication mechanisms. Authentication mechanisms. What does that mean? What does this authentication mechanisms means? Say suppose Nitin is trying to log into a system. All right. Nitin logged into a system. As soon as Nitin logged into the system, next time Nitin is asking for some other data. How would the server know? How would the server know whether the user is already logged in or not? There would have to be some way. First thing first, if Nitin is logging in, Nitin will log in with some username and password or phone number and OTP. These are the multiple ways to log in, right? This so you know, phone number and OTP, email ID and password, or Gmail and all of this, where you like try to log in. Now, how would we know that every time Nitin is asking for some data, Nitin is logged in? How would you know? You could probably create a token for Nitin, suggesting that Nitin has logged in, and this is the token. This is a session that has Nitin been logged in, right? So that token, every time Nitin asks for some data, would be sent to the server, suggesting that, hey, I want data for a user which is known as Nitin, and that user Nitin is already logged in, so return the data for Nitin, right? It's like probably like a key, suggesting that every time you go home, open the home, you always open with the same key, right? So Nitin would always ask for the data from the server. Server will say, give me a token. You give the token, you take the data. Simple, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Sessions, right? Easy peasy, right? So now, if you would get the data for every time, you would do that using any of these token mechanisms, token auth or JWT or something, right? Now you would have seen one more thing, that whenever you're trying to log in, you can log into a system using Gmail, or you can log into a system using GitHub, or you can log into a system using Facebook. What are these? What are these called? These are called as OAuth. These are called as OAuth. What does OAuth do? What does OAuth do is that when you're trying to log into a system, what these companies have done, Gmail, Facebook, Microsoft, or GitHub, these are very smart companies. What they did was said that, hey, your company is not that famous. Why would a user want to come and log into your system? Why would they want to create one very like password this? Instead of that, what I would say, I would give you one auth. I would say that they make an account on Facebook and they can log into your website also using Facebook. They can also log into your account using Facebook's credentials. So what they say is that you give a button, clicking on Facebook, it takes you to Facebook. You log into Facebook. Facebook gives you that ID. Facebook gives you that ID, suggesting that, hey, this is the ID for the user. This is the personal information for the user, and you log into that. Log this user into your website using these credentials. Now, why does Facebook do? What is the advantage that Facebook gets out of this? You know, what is the advantage that Facebook gets out of this? It's very simple. It's very simple. They get more and more users. They get more and more users onto Facebook. So every time you acquire a user, Facebook gets a new user. Every time you acquire a new user, Facebook also gets a new user. So you are acquiring users for Facebook because of them writing some code, which is known as OAuth. Smart, very smart. You need an account. So Facebook could you could make an account there, right? And then they sell your data. That's what Mohammed is saying. Then they can sell your data, or they can use your data to make you show you ads, right? They could show you ads from the data that you have. So lots of companies give the data to other companies, right? So now you have understood OAuth. One more last concept is SSO. What does this SSO mean? What does this SSO mean? Single sign-on. So if you open and log into YouTube, and you are already logged into your Google, does it ask for you to log in again, or it does not ask for you to log in again? It logs you in directly, right? It directly logs you in. What happens in this case is you go to YouTube. YouTube sends a request to Google saying that, hey, do you have a token? Do you have a token for user who is trying to come into my system, whose name is Rahul? Do you have a token for Rahul? Google will say, yes, I have a token for Rahul. He's already logged into Google. You can use probably the same token. You can probably use the same token. So it will take the same token and log Rahul in. So this is known as single sign-on. Get it? Does it make sense? Token would expire. Then you would see that Google also asks you to log in again a lot of times, right? Google also asks you to log in again. Development. This is known as your roadmap to backend development. Now, if you want to become a backend developer, you can follow this roadmap. And you can become a good backend developer, right? Now, what is left? What are the interviews that you have? Interview rounds that we have? And what the most important, what are the salaries that I can draw? What are the salaries that I can draw by learning this backend, front end? What are the money that I can get, right? Correct? Before we move forward, I would request Swanjyoti to quickly launch a poll. quickly to launch a poll. I want to understand if you found the concepts interesting, whether I was able to impart knowledge properly for you, if you enjoyed the experience of learning things till now. Can you go ahead and say 10 if you loved it, if I was able to grasp your attention, if I was able to tell you right things, you enjoyed a lot understanding what full stack development is. It is a request, please go ahead and rate whatever you liked. I have spent a lot of energy in order to make you understand these concepts. So it's a request, if you could just go ahead and rate the masterclass. It helps me understand whether you liked the masterclass, whether you enjoyed the masterclass, if it made sense, things made sense, and if I was able to make you a better developer in any way, right? Go ahead and rate the masterclass on the bottom right side of the screen. Thank you. Thanks a lot. There are few more polls. Please bear with us. Did you like the pace at which we taught you? Did you like the pace at which we taught you? If you enjoyed the pace that I taught you things at, it was a beginner friendly class, if you were a beginner and you understood things, I explained you things well, please go ahead and rate the poll on the bottom right side of the screen so that I understand whether you liked the session or not. The pace made sense to you or not.
Come on, guys. We have around 539 people along with us. We want some good active participation in this poll so that we can understand your feedback accordingly and we can make the changes when it comes to our upcoming master classes as well. Cool. Going for the third poll, guys. So did you find this particular masterclass engaging? So if you felt that yes, Siddharth did justice when it comes to full stack development, in a very easy manner, he kept you through the bits and bits, like the different jokes he made, the different analogies, the different sort of like examples that he took from different aspects. Again, you can just feel free to drop in your response. If you loved whatever he taught you throughout this masterclass, you can just again give 5 on 5 or whatever number that suits you. When it comes to this feedback polls, again, reiterating the fact, this is very important for Siddharth and the team as well to understand how the entire session went, like well, or like is it something we need to make certain changes when it comes to the classes or not. Going for the fourth poll, guys, like how do you rate the contents when it comes to this masterclass? Just like Siddharth mentioned, this is it was completely beginner friendly. So we kept it that way only. We understood that yes, if you are planning to start your career when it comes to full stack development, if you want to understand the nitty-gritties, that is where Siddharth helped you out when it comes to understanding the basics, understanding the basics part, like what are those things you should be learning upfront before starting your career when it comes to becoming a full stack developer, backend developer, or whatever it is. And I believe he tried to cover as many things as possible within this particular timeline itself. So guys, last few seconds before we are done with the feedback polls. Cool. Thank you so much, guys. Siddhartha, you can continue.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Sanjay. I would quickly cover the rounds that are there. Interview rounds that would be there. Machine coding round would be one, which is similar to the front end part. DSA round, which is data structures and algorithms, is another round, and algos. Then you have your backend LLD, which is nothing but low level design of your systems, whether you understand how to make a low level design, how we understood the banking website, if that makes sense or not. If you are senior, you would have a HLD round. You could have another backend knowledge check round. Then you could have a cultural fitment round. Right? Cultural fitment round that you could take, right? That they could take for you, right? Now, next part, what are the salaries that you could draw as a backend developer? If you are an absolute beginner, you could earn something around 5. Actually starts with 3, but where roadmap I have told you, you could earn something from 5 to 12 lakhs per annum. If you are a front end developer, you could earn something similar from 5 to 12 itself. It could go up to 22, 24 as well. I am suggesting in an average range. Right? As a full stack developer, it becomes little higher. It becomes little higher. You could earn up to something from 7 to 16, going up to any number. That is a crazy dimension to be there in, where you see 1 crore package or something of that sort that people have earned. But that is something that I'm not going into. So but mostly these are the packages and salary ranges that you could draw. What I will do is I will quickly share the document with all of you. I know that a lot of you have been waiting for the document. I have added the document for you, right? Now I will quickly take some doubts, some questions. I saw one question that has been persistently asked. I have a career gap. I have a career gap. If you have a career gap, if you learn things in a proper way, you can most definitely become a full stack developer. You have to follow the path that you see over there. If you want help from us, if you think that we can help you, you can join Scalar as well, right? You can join Scalar. Okay, you want quizzes? I can do one quiz for all of you. Let's see who is going to top the quiz. I see some issue with the quiz right now. There's some issue with the quiz. Till the time this quiz is load, yeah, it is loaded, right? One quiz only for today. Let's see who wins. All right. I see a lot of you have interacted. Do you want one more quiz, by the way? One more quiz? Yes? Let's do one more quiz then. All right, let's see who the winner is. Manohar is on the top, Kishan at 2, Farhan at 3. Let's do one more quiz. Before we wrap up. Last quiz. All right. I see most of you have answered. Let's see who's the winner. Manohar is the winner. Great job, Manohar. Great job. Thank you for being so proactive in the quiz, Manohar. Impact of AI and chatbots on jobs in the future. It's not going to take your jobs. Any of the AI tools that are going to be made in front end or back end. So they are not going to take your jobs. Don't worry. Be confident. Become a full stack developer. Be confident on your skills rather than worrying about anything else. Chat GPT AI is not going to take your job. Recession is not going to take your job. Just be prepared for becoming better and better at your job. I have 10 years of experience. Can I want to transition into technical? You can do that, Ajay. I would recommend learn through the roadmap that I have suggested you, or if you want us to help you, you can join Scalar as well. We will help you upskill and get there. I have seen a lot of people. Right now I am teaching a student who has switched from an arts background to a and getting an internship as a front end engineer. So you can do that, right? You can do that. DSA is very, very important. DSA is very, very important. I see that a lot of people are asking DSA. DSA is very important. DSA is the language of your interviews. Everyone asks DSA. So DSA is 110% important. You can, Rahul, if you want, you can. I have seen hundreds of engineers who have switched from service based to product based by learning the right set of skills and right set of things. So I can personally guide you on that. If you want roadmap for 1 crore package, work hard every day, study as much as you can, read as much as you can, switch as many jobs as you can, you will reach 1 crore package. At least 3 to 6 months to become a good front end full stack developer. Yes, you can, Nirmal. Yes, you can. I see there are lots and lots of questions. So, and Jyoti, if you could launch the poll so that we understand that people want to connect with us. If you want to connect with us and you want these questions to be answered, I can't take every question today. But if you want to connect with us and take these questions, us to take these questions, go ahead and say yes to the poll on the bottom right side of the screen. We will connect with you. We'll take the questions. We'll understand the questions. We'll answer the questions as much as we can for you. And we will understand if you want to join Scalar as well. It's a free of cost session. So go ahead and say yes on the bottom right side of the screen, right? I'll hand it over to you, Saran Jyoti, now to take it forward from here. If you want me to take more doubts, you can connect with me on LinkedIn as well. I have added my link over here. Thank you. Thanks a lot, everyone, for attending the session, for being a wonderful audience. Over to you, Saran Jyoti. A big shout out to Saran Jyoti as well for hosting the session with us today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Siddharth. Thank you so much for your interaction throughout this entire session. I believe all the audience had a general understanding when it comes to starting their career, or if they are currently working when it comes to different aspects of full stack development or backend development. They can understand how can they shape up when it comes to their career as well. With this being said, just give me a second, guys. I will just share all of the doubts you are all having, so that you're not missing out on any links once again. So for the people who have been inquiring about the certificate, let me just share the link once again. So this is the same link, guys, wherein you have registered for this particular event. Just go to that link by tomorrow at 10 a.m. or so. You can just click on that particular link itself. You will be getting the certificate accordingly. If you want to get the LinkedIn profile of Siddharth, let me just paste that as well. Just give me a moment. You can check the LinkedIn profile of Siddharth. You can just DM him with any sort of questions or anything that you are having. Cool. Now, guys, if you love the session, if you love the way Siddharth helped you when it comes to the concepts or whatever he taught you in terms of full stack development, backend development, what are the basic ways he took that examples or so, because this is how we try to be more interactive with all you people out there so that you can understand the concepts in much of an easier manner. So I will also share the link of my LinkedIn profile as well. So if you love the session, my name is Swarna Jyoti Tadala. So if you love the session, you can just tag Scalar, you can just tag Siddharth, or you can just tag me as well. You can let us know like how did the session went well for you. If there anything, you can just surely get that. Badusha, you can just check the link for the event page. There is an event page link. I will just ping it right away. Let me just ping it right away for all of you guys here. Just give me a second. This is again for the certificate. You will be getting the certificate only by tomorrow in the morning, not by today itself. So you need to wait for that. So don't need to worry on that part. Now, guys, I have a few things to share with all of you before we drop off here. Again, guys, there is a free class that is coming up from Anshuman Singh. Now, for all of you who don't know about your Anshuman, just to give a heads up, he's currently the co-founder of Scalar, and he's also one of the founding members when it comes to Facebook Messenger app as well. So if you want to attend his session, you can just feel free to register in this particular event. Like he will be will make sure that whatever doubts or queries you are having when it comes to the interview questions, if you want to target high salaries, like how to revamp your resume, how to present yourself when it comes to different interview formats, that is where like Anshuman and his small team would be helping you to summarize all your questions. And the best part is that this will be a very short and dynamic session. So very less number of people will be joining the session. Again, the main agenda for this is that we want to address as many as questions as possible throughout this entire free class here. Cool. Now, many of you were saying that you love the section anyways. So I will just quickly share the feedback form with you. So if you have any concerns, if you have any, if you felt that, okay, this masterclass was something that you loved all the way through, if there is, you can just give us your valuable feedback, and obviously we will try to incorporate that when it comes to our upcoming masterclasses as well. Badusha, I mentioned you won't be getting the certificate at this point of time. You need to wait